Welcome, everyone. This is Coffee with the Founder, Richard, not Coffee with the Journalist. That's my other podcast. I am Beck Bamberger, and we do this wonderful podcast because we want to know how founders think that are venture backed, that are doing the crazy thing of building a startup from nothing, from their own mind, and frankly, why they even do it, because you have to be a level of insane to do it, Richard. You have to be a level of insane. And then you get infected with something that I called yesterday, which I use all the time, founderitis. So when you have founderitis, even after you exit, you made a pile of money or whatever, you do it again and you do it again. And that is a weird and interesting disease that exists specifically for founders. But today with us, we're going to be talking about the removal of alcohol. So let's get into it. We have Richard Schatzberger with us today. He's CEO and founder of, do I say, is it ALTR, Richard?
It's ALTR, yes.
Yep,
That's
ALTR
us.
with us. We were talking earlier how we're both burgers, so we know how fun that can be with burger names. So I get it, Richard. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. It's exciting to be here.
It is. So yes, I do want to start off, since you kind of led with it, of like, give me the 2 minutes. Give me the 2 minute story on you all. Like, why'd you start this thing? What are we doing here? Using nanotechnology and alcohol removal.
Exactly. Not exactly where I actually expected to end up. I've had a career in emerging technologies. So I usually get involved with businesses and products when there's kind of the seed of a new technology and there's kind of a shift in culture that I'm kind of observing, and trying to put those two things together so you can create new products and experiences that hopefully make the world a little bit better and make people's lives a little bit happier and bring a smile to somebody's face. So I have worked in everything from interactive TV in the UK and Europe. I worked at Motorola for many years, and I was actually lucky enough to work at Motorola when I got to work on the first color phone, first camera phone, first touchscreen phone. Created the cheapest cell phone ever made for Indian villagers who couldn't read or write. So
and then you were at Samsung. Well, you got acquired, right?
Got acquired, yep. Then I did the same kind of thing for AI as a consultant. I was working with the original team of Siri before it was even called Siri. Then with the same team went on to create a company called Viv, which was sold to Samsung. So kind of all of the early emerging AI technology, kind of going after those hard problems. And that's what you talked about, founderitis. I think I've got kind of hard problem-itis. What is the difficult thing that's going to create a shift in society? So
let me ask you that. That is a great overview. You love to solve hard things. Why is it that you continue to do the hard things? Is it because you have now built momentum and you're like, oh, I've been able to do that, so now I have more confidence? I'm trying to get to the source of how does founderitis continue? Why does it continue? Why can that founder not sit on their hands for more than 6 months, I swear to God, without going like, you know what, now I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I can give you 10 case studies right now. Why do you think it is?
I think for me, it's the challenge of the impossible. Right? When somebody tells you can't do something, when somebody says this is going to be really hard, when somebody said nobody's been able to do this, it's not possible, those are the challenges that excite me. Kind of a 9-to-5 world of kind of incremental change. I don't feel like I'm having the impact on society that I want to do. I do this to kind of watch people. I always kind of, and the reason I've enjoyed what I've done thus far is it's about intentionally, whether it's turned out that way. It was all about bringing people together, right? When we started, it was really about connecting people across the ether. AI was really around kind of giving people superpowers so they could get back to their life. I like to think of AI as kind of symbiosis, not kind of superpower, not kind of super agents. It really is about how do humans and humans interact with each other in a positive way. And so those are kind of the hard challenges that I like to go after, but with that theme of bringing people together. So while I didn't expect to be in alcohol removal, and I'll tell you a little bit about that journey, but that is all about kind of how do you kind of bring people together around kind of social settings, get people back. And I feel like in this particular case, I'm kind of going back to what I wanted to do with cell phones, what I wanted to do with AI, and doing it now around kind of a ritual that actually kind of is not tech based in the output, but really about kind of creating a situation, social settings that bring people together in a way that they can actually connect deeper, by removing the alcohol, but keeping the ritual and the experience.
Well, we are quite on trend with everyone, Gen Z apparently saying like we're not drinking alcohol. Okay, my quick take on that, Richard, is that
Yeah,
for us millennials or so forth, this will be the smoking of our generation.
I think I
Too
think
much?
there's
Too much?
I think there's a couple of things kind of in there.
Okay.
I think we have like alcohol's been around for a lot
Well,
longer
that's true.
than most things, right? We
It's
have
very true.
the
We've been
Romans
fermenting.
used
Yeah.
it, the English used it to purify water when the drinking water wasn't there. It really has been, it's been ingrained in society at a level that's a little
Hmm.
deeper, and it's actually been ingrained in commerce in a way, right? The way I think about it, and I think kind of
True.
alcohol, when used incorrectly, can most definitely have a negative effect. And I made choices myself to not drink anymore, so I became
Mm.
sober, which is why I started this company.
Mm.
I think it does some good things as well when used in moderation, right? We often go to extremes, and so I actually believe that it is about choice.
Mm.
And that's what ultimately we're creating, is kind of a world where people can choose no alcohol, a tiny bit of alcohol, a little bit, a medium amount of alcohol. I just think we've just ended up in this world where there's too much alcohol. Nobody sat down and really
Mm.
said whiskey should be 40%, wine should be 14%. And I think over the past 20 plus years, we've celebrated high proof as value, right? And
Mm.
ultimately,
Mm.
alcohol is a really cheap, low value molecule. We wash
Yes.
our hands with it, right? We
Yes.
have our
Yes.
Purell and we wash our hands with it. Why does that equal an expensive thing? And it's not about the alcohol itself. It's about the experience that you can have with a drink that tastes and kind of fits in with an appropriate social setting. And so for us, it's about how do you devalue the ethanol, but increase the value of the experience. And having a dial, for beverage makers to choose that is how we're approaching this. And then
Mm.
everybody can choose. Do you want none because it's a Wednesday night and you've got to get up super early? Do you want a little bit because you had a hard day and it's just a way to relax? Or is it a weekend and you do want to kind of have a medium strength drink to kind of get rid of those things that we have our social anxieties around?
Mm.
It does bring people together to a point, and
Yes.
then it breaks, right? It actually is this kind of, it's a pretty simple chart, right? It's like it's good, it's good, it's good, it's bad, and it drops off. And I think that is because people don't have control over how much alcohol is in something, and they don't have transparent choice, to be able to decide. And if they can decide, it's usually a subpar experience. And so those are the things that we're trying to solve.
Okay, so let's go for a second here. Like, and how are you solving it? Because you're using nanotechnology to extract it. So you're still keeping, is this basically, you know, the water drink that we're talking, what, I'm losing the damn water. What is it? The liquid death? Is this a little bit of a liquid death type of play eventually from like a consumer application?
For us, we're actually staying. We're not trying to change it, right? That's our goal. So ALTR is, we call ourselves a flavor first alcohol removal
Mm-hmm.
technology. The way that we do it, it's a new membrane based technology. I have some of the best scientists and physicists in the world on our team, along with the
Mm-hmm.
best winemakers and sommeliers as part of that team. So we have a new process and a new membrane technology that basically allows you to pass a wine across a membrane. So there's no additives, nothing there. And we extract out just the ethanol molecule. So you keep all of those aromas, the great tannins, we keep all the great flavors, a lot of the mouthfeel stays, because the only thing that we extract out of the drink is the ethanol molecule. And so we're doing that through some really advanced technology, from a membrane perspective. As I said, I have kind of some of the best researchers and scientists. I managed to wonderfully hire in the ex-chief innovation officer of Powell Membranes, one of the biggest membrane companies in the world. I'm working with PSL University, and the director of research in nanomaterials has been on the team since kind of pretty much day one. So it's pairing together advanced technology, but with a goal, right? It is flavor first. How do you retain all of the experience? So ultimately, and I think kind of you primed me with a couple of questions, like, what's the headline I want to read? I'm going to do your job for a second. The headline I want to read when we launch this with some of the best winemakers in the world is "It's just wine." And that changes everything, right? There was actually just a recent study in the past couple of weeks, which was really about, they asked consumers, what would you prefer, one glass of full strength wine or 2 glasses of half strength wine? And 50% of consumers said they'd prefer 2 glasses of half strength. They can spend more time with each other. If it tastes the same, you can spend, but it's, to me, it's not about gluttony.
I know
it's about time with each other, right? When was it? How many times have people had that moment where, do you want another? We're having a great evening. Do you want another glass of wine? Do you want another drink? And people usually say no, not because of the price, not because they want to go home. It's usually because of the alcohol content in that drink. And so by lowering the alcohol, you can spend more time with each other. And kind of,
yes, and sorry to interrupt, but I just got like excited about this. So it's so unlike adding things, which a lot of companies try to add to make the fake meat not meat or blah 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 blah. You are extracting. You're literally just extracting, which is a way more powerful sell, if you ask me. One and two. What a fascinating time, and this is quite the time to think of all the applications that are about the deep desire we have to be together.
Yes.
And I like,
and I believe we're heading that way more.
We're in the midst. I am so excited to be alive right now, because being in person, being in relationships, how you have relationships is literally everything, truly, for a satisfied life and all the things of happiness and everything else. So, man, there's just so many tentacles that touch that. So I'm so glad you mentioned that thought of just, it's the desire actually for that individual to stay, linger longer, connect deeper, da 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 da.
Yes, exactly. And that's my goal, and I think that's where the trends are going. I think technology, even though as I said at the beginning, I was part of kind of the technologies that I think ultimately have pulled people apart and made people separate. And so I'm watching kind of what's happening and kind of in that Gen Z, and experiences where it's in person without technology, the most desirable and valuable experiences that you can have. So I think in the next 5 years, we will be heading back to this in-person world, and having something that you can connect around is going to be important.
I do also believe, I love like the macro events and everything. The COVID tail on our existence of that shared experience is going to be very long, generationally, my experience, even from babies born in that time. Like that's going to impact you. I'm sorry, forever, your entire life. So what is the tentacle, like what is the tail of that look like? And it's exactly what you're talking to, is what is the technology that brings and fosters connection? To your point though, man, so many things we're trying to be about connection. Like all the social, you could argue all the social media platforms were in that intent, and there are some benefits, but man, are there some dark sides, as technology is. Fascinating. Fascinating. Okay, Richard.
And that's what excites me, back to that kind of founder story. It's back to that thing. It's both a kind of emergent technology and a cultural shift. And how do you put those together to kind of move it forward faster?
Which, as we've talked about many times here, like is all about the story and what we are trying to do and all the things. So how do you now think of success?
How do I think of success? I think previously, and this is pretty recent for me, success was an end goal. And that's fantastic. And I think you should have a vision, and kind of that's how I think about everything. Set up the vision and then take the steps to kind of make it happen. I like to call it imagine action. It's not manifestation. It's actually imagining something and then doing the work to
Doing the
actually make
work.
it
Let's
come
double
true.
emphasize doing the work. Yes.
And it is a lot of work if you
Yes.
believe in something and kind of can feel that passion and that burn inside you. Success to me used to be like the big goal, the kind of retirement moment, the end. And I think back to your kind of founderitis, I've changed that now. It's like, how are the small successes? How are the moments where you can stop and feel great about what you're doing, as well as what you've done? Because there isn't an endpoint. Like, we all know what the human
It's
endpoint
death. We
is,
all
and
die.
that's not
Exactly.
success. So you have to, and I'm giving myself a
That's
therapy
what we're
session
here
right
for,
now,
Richard.
but kind of you have to keep kind of finding those kind of smaller successes or bigger successes and knowing that they're going to flow and trusting that they're going to flow. And I think that shift for me has actually made me enjoy this founder's journey more. And there's moments of success when I get my vacation and I put my feet in the sand, and that feels great. But there's moments of success when I see one of my team members kind of learn a new skill and feel great and kind of take a new direction. So it can be any of those things that bring joy to
Do
life.
you feel you're living in your purpose then?
I definitely do. There's something that is driving me that I probably should have stopped this a number of times. Where
Yeah.
it's like, as with
Yes.
as with any technology, right? There are blocks that people say, okay, there we go, and I didn't stop. I can't stop. There is
You know,
no. I had somebody ask me the other day, is like, what would you do if this doesn't work? And like, can you imagine that future? And I'm like, there's a complete block in my brain, um, and I can't see that
yes.
future. And that's when you know there's a purpose, right? That's not the next job, it's not the next project. It's like, no, there is no end until I have achieved my goal of giving people ultimate choice. And really, to kind of the way that I look at this, I've got two goals here. One is to remove the stigma of drinking less. I got sober 7.5 years
For
ago,
you.
and there was definitely a stigma around it. Like,
Interesting.
people would ask me, "What's
Interesting
wrong
though.
with you?" I'm like, "Hold
Well,
on a minute, I did
okay,
something good
Richard,
for myself."
let's talk about that for a second because I've never drank. Never, never. I've never been drunk. Nope,
Oh,
don't drink. It's like, I got enough energy. I got enough, and I don't give a crap about
yeah,
other people, what they're thinking about me. So, like, I have that gene, whatever. So, I have never, but maybe it's because I don't give a crap, had social anything from people. Oh, are you recovered? Are you like, did you have alcoholism in your family? Did you blah, blah, blah? And I'm like, no, I just don't. So you had that. And I hear this so often. And I'm like,
a lot.
what? Wow. Like from friends, from people, like maybe if you were in the habit of doing it, they're now looking at you weird.
Friends, old co-workers, in restaurants, I always have a very awkward experience around kind of ordering a drink that doesn't have alcohol. I have to like very proactively say, I don't drink alcohol, but I want this drink. Um, it's always an awkward thing. And the way that kind of mocktails have been set up and all of those different things, it's always you're on the kids menu, you're on the side menu, you're not in kind of the main thing. It's like there isn't a vegetarian menu, right?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
food and you have
Yeah.
meals and choices. But when it comes to not drinking, it's still very binary. It's still very separate. And kind of that's what we want to get rid of. It shouldn't be a question. It shouldn't be this separation. I love the fact that the pendulum swung all the way to kind of non
Right.
alcoholic bars. That's a great pendulum swing. But it's still separate, right? It's like, why should I choose who and where I hang out based on that kind of one single molecule? Because that's all I actually did in the end, is I removed one molecule from my diet, and that for me put me on the edge of society. And I think it may be different when you approach it from those two
Mhm.
different worlds, right? You approached it from kind of never, and I approached it from often. And that kind of took an experience away from me. When I'm sitting down having a fabulous French meal, I don't want a Diet Coke. I don't want a sugary drink with a melon and umbrella sticking out of the top to go
Yeah.
with a great. It doesn't go well with us escargot, right? So So that was really kind of the challenge, was to remove that stigma. So everybody, new generations and older generations, get that chance to kind of reframe their relationship with alcohol. And then the other thing I wanted to remove from the world was the ethanol molecule. And that was really the technology. So how do we go after a single molecule, extract it out, and keep the integrity of what it's been a craft for so long, like wine, the art and the craft of winemaking and distilling and brewing. It's an ancient
It's
art.
almost like their
And I
storytelling, like
don't
around the
think we,
fire. Like I think we were drinking wine.
yeah,
Like, yeah,
it's been
yeah,
part of so many cultures,
it
and
is
it's
universal.
part of like
Mhm.
how do restaurants survive, right? If you take away
Mhm.
alcohol. And I think that's one of the interesting things. When I started this company, everyone was like, why would you do this? Why would you take the fun out of drinking? And nobody's ever going to pay the same price for less alcohol. And I think we've started that shift where not non or low alcohol is the same price, or often more, because the art and the craft that goes into that is actually harder to do, to create a great adult drink doing that. And people are doing this now. They're hacking their way into drinking less, right? It's like there's zebra striping
Yes,
as a trend that I
yes.
don't like the name of, but it's one full strength drink, 1-0, one full strength drink, 1-0.
You don't
It's
have
like,
to do that.
hold on a minute, why don't we just give you choice to drink exactly what you want? A better tasting zero and options all the way up the ABV spectrum.
Richard, thank you for being on for today. We don't have 2.5 hours. This is the problem with this podcast. We're not doing the long form. We're doing the little like the coffee date, 20 minutes, right?
Indeed.
Only this. Fascinating. I love this. And thank you for telling me more on founderitis and your thoughts there. Mm.
Thank you so much for having me.
This
This
is
has been
so
fun.
fun. Richard Schatzberger, everybody, CEO, co-founder, or founder of ALTR, taking out with molecule adjustment the alcohol, but not removing the taste. It's all about connection, Richard. That's
It
basically it.
is.
Thank you so much. Good to see you.
Well, I've
Thanks,
enjoyed this.
Richard.
Thank you very, very much. All right. Take care.